Hello and welcome to ThePrint. On 26 July this year, India will celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Kargil War. During the war, the Indian Army lost close to 527 personnel and more than 1300 were wounded. Today we have with us the authors of Nimbu Saab, Neha and Diksha Dwivedi in the studio, and the narrator Atule, who has joined us from Nagaland via a video link. This book is about the valor and might of Atule's elder brother Nimbu, who was the commander of the Ghatak platoon. He belonged to the 2nd Battalion of the Rajputana Rifles. Nimbu played a crucial role in securing the Lone Hill during the 1999 Kargil War by evicting the Pakistani soldiers present on the hill. Welcome Neha, Diksha and Atule.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So since you've had to bear personal losses during Kargil War, how was it for you to retell these stories?
Um, I think that there is a double effect of it. Having gone through the personal loss ourselves, I think in a sense helps us to be able to tell the story in a kind from a lens of a person who's also gone through it. So we definitely do think that we have the required amount of empathy and understanding, and also connect with the families of the martyrs for them to be able to place enough faith in us to be able to share their stories, and in that sense it helps. Yes, it can be hard since your fathers fought the same war, we've lost him in the same war, but it's also cathartic in some sense. So I'd say it's a mix of both, but if we had to choose, we obviously would want to tell more stories. We do ourselves understand the value of telling these stories, and so I would say, yeah, it's a mixed bag.
And what about you, Atule? How was it for you to retell the story?
It is a pleasure for me to retell the story of my brother because uh, it is a long time back stories. Memories have become a little vague, but telling the stories again to people, it has refreshed the memories and bring back my childhood back to me. So it was a very interesting and very touching thing for me to retell the story of my brother.
And um, so, what does the 25th year of the war mean to you, all of you?
So I would say that I think something that we have realized growing up and over the years, our father is a Kargil War martyr as well. His name is Major C.V. Dwivedi, Sena Medal. He was in 315 Field Regiment, which is an artillery regiment. It was the first one to be deployed in the war, actually. Um, but over the years, there are a couple of things we have learned, right? One is that something that all of us martyr families take forward from our loved ones who have left us as a part of the Indian Army is that our sense of purpose somehow stays attached to them. And the second is that we often just think about them during this time and not the other months. So I feel and I hope that and that has been a feeling for many years, and of course we try and, like you said, retell stories and talk about them more and humanize them more. But we hope that the kind of awareness that comes with this 25th year, as the anniversary is being celebrated in a large manner, something comes out of it where we are like, okay, we don't have to only think about the men in uniform during these times. We can think about them in other times, and be more responsible citizens and actually realize the value of the sacrifices they're making every day rather than only on such days.
Yeah. So, since then, it's been 25 years. So, what has remained the same for all of you and what has changed?
I think there is definitely a sense of belonging to the country that as Fauji kids we grew up as. I think the whole idea of, patriotism, or even just simple things, right? Like even just looking at the flag or the feeling that you get while looking at a uniformed individual. I think that has remained a constant. It's not that because we lost our father and after that over the years we kind of lost touch with that emotion in general. That hasn't changed, and I don't think that will change ever. But yeah, there definitely, as kids of an army officer, our lives were essentially very, very different when he was there. Living in cantonments, or even the way of life in general, attending army parties and everything. In that sense, for us, our life went through a complete change. So 25 years is a lifetime, and it definitely looks a lot more different than perhaps it would have if he would have been around. So we have
I
actually
guess that.
spent more number of years without daddy than with daddy
Definitely. Yeah.
by now, and that is still quite a bizarre feeling, because our memories are with him are very vivid.
So you talk a great deal about Nagaland and your family's journey through the socio-political upheaval in the state.
Right.
So, as just as your life was changing, how did your state change?
My state have changed drastically after the these two decades, maybe for these 20 years. Before, when when we are kids, we are scared of the Indian army because our parents have suffered in the hands of the Indian army when the Nagas were fighting for their independent, separate motherland. So during those days, there have been many issues between the Indian army and the Nagas in general. So with that phobia, our parents are very scared of this army personals, and we are also scared of the army personals. But today, things have changed. People have become educated, and now we are able to understand Hindi and English. That is why communication, the difference is not no more a barrier for us. Now we are able to communicate with the people, and at the same time, many of the Nagas have joined Indian Army. First Nagaland Naga Regiment, Second Regiment have been formed after the Kargil War. So now many have also joined me, and now I think we are very much close to Indian army also, and now the communications and our brothers' contribution, all these have affected us, and now I think people have come to very good understanding with the mainland India. We are living in peace with everybody here now. In fact, now this is one of the most pleasant place to be living also.
So, back then when Nibu joined the army, did you or any of your family members face any backlash from the society?
No, we don't face backlash as such, but there are many people, uncles and aunties, who were reluctant to send Nibu to army. They said you should not join Indian army. That is, there are some people who tried to stop him from joining the Indian army. But for Nibu, joining India army is for him it is a profession for the upliftment of the family. That is what he has more in his mind. Uh, so he joined the Indian army that way, and yeah, many have were against him joining Indian army, but uh, uh, no one have stopped him to the extent of disliking us or anything like that. No, there is nothing like that.
Okay. So, you both, the two of you, have come together with Atule to write the book. So, how is your rapport like with him and his?
So he always says that I am like him and she is like Nebu. Uh, so when we when we spent a lot of time with him in Nagaland, he would always tell me that, "Arey, you're just like this only. You're free and outgoing and always doing." And Nehadi is more strict and disciplined and all of that. Those are Nebu's personality traits. So I think it was so wonderful for two siblings to get together with Nebu's sibling to write this book. I think it was quite an experience for us, and there were a lot of relatable moments and anecdotes that we had. We definitely, I think, to answer you
quickly it would be, we almost felt like we were talking to another sibling. He also calls us sis, both of us.
Yeah, he'll
So
call and he'll say, "Hi, sis."
hi sis. So he was, in a sense, in fact, on our trips to Kohima, I think Diksha and Atule's wife would sometimes sleep, and me and Atule would keep chatting all the way back till Dimapur, and so many things we spoke about. I think we definitely bonded a lot over our interviews on our trip to Nagaland, for sure.
For me, meeting both of them is just honestly, it is just like meeting uh, someone very similar to me and Nibu, because I find that I was first introduced to Diksha, and after that only I was introduced to Neha. But their relations are very much similar to me and my brother Nibu. My elder brother is caring, more disciplined, but I'm a little outspoken, and then uh, hmm, I don't think very deeply, but I'm always fun loving, and the elder one is always controlling. So all these we had a very similar relationship, and I'm very happy that I met them.
I like that you said something great about me and controlling about her.
Similar, what?
What to do?
Atule, back then, while receiving the honor bestowed upon Nibu posthumously from the defense minister, you asked him for a petrol pump during your conversation later on. So, what was running through your mind when you asked him for the petrol pump, and how did you feel after that?
See, I was having a feeling, if Nibu is no more, who is going to look after the family, because he is our only source apart from our father. But my father's earning was not good, so I was just thinking, where will things work out? When I went to Delhi, I was very fortunate to meet an army officer named Captain Indu. She's a lady from Ordnance. We become good friends, and then I was sharing with her what will happen after that, and then she informed me that there are some petrol pumps going to be allotted to the Kargil victims. So I thought this would be the best thing for me to ask, and then she guided me. She took me to defense minister, and there God gave me strength to speak in front of the then defense minister George Fernandez. I was just a young 23, 4 years boy then, but God gave me strength, and then I spoke to him saying that if you could give me one, I will be able to look after my family. And I was so proud, and I was so happy that God gave me strength to speak in front of him. I don't know where the strength come from, and I'm sure it is from God that have given me the strength to speak in front of him. And he wrote the note and sent me to Petroleum Minister Ram Nayak. I was so happy holding his letter, and then I went to Mr. this honorable Petroleum Minister Ram Nayak, and then he also helped me, and that's how I was able to get through.
Okay. So, how has Nibu's story inspired the people of Nagaland, and have any of your own family members or close friends followed in his footsteps?
See, Nibu's story is always an inspiration to almost all the generation, almost all the age group. Why? Because Nibu is an obedient boy, an obedient man to his elders, to his friend. He's a good friend. He's very humorous, and to us, he's a guide. And even today, people used to talk about his stories, how disciplined he is. So it is an inspiration not only for other people. It is an inspiration to me myself. I even today follow his footsteps. I want to speak like him. I always try to imitate him. And even I today imagine, if Nibu were there, what will he say on this topic? If somebody starts questioning me or anything, or if I have to deal with some situation, I always used to think, what will Nibu say if he is here? Or what will be his advice? And that's how I used to follow him. And I'm very pretty sure that once this book is officially published, and if people go through this book, I'm very sure that they will definitely get an inspiration out of Nibu's life. That's what I believe. And I'm happy that I'm able to write it down through my two sisters there sitting with you, and was able to keep him alive through this book. And I'm sure this book will do very well, and will be an inspiration to not only the Naga people but also to all the people. See, here in Nagaland, if you go to places, you still find Nibu's postures, Nibu's on the way, on the roadside, pride of Nagaland, some written, son of Nagaland, pride of the nation, all these things, his postures were there. So that is an always his life is always being an inspiration to all the generations. That what I believe, and I'm very proud because it was an inspiration to everybody.
So, are you in touch with Nibu's batchmates and their family members, and also personnel from his unit?
Honestly, I'm very poor in keeping connection with the people. Yes, there are some people, some of his close friends, like his course mate Vishal, and then of course, with his regiment, I'm keeping in touch. His friends here in Nagaland are most of them are also my friends. We have common friends. Of course, they are a little older than me, but we have very common friends. So I'm keeping in touch with some of the friends. But honestly speaking, I'm not very good in keeping touch with people. So uh, that part, I will say, I'm also failing in some ways.
Okay. So, are there any plans to turn this book into a biopic or a web series?
Why not?
That's always the plan. It depends on, I'm sure all of you are aware that the whole conversion takes many, many steps in between. But yes, to a sense and answer you, definitely, we would.
Anything we can do to kind of take it to platforms which has the biggest reach. The whole idea is to tell Nebu's story, to tell Nagaland story in the hugest of manner, right? And we'll do anything that we can for that.
Okay. And any other books of any war heroes in the making?
Again, for sure, there are some conversations that are going on, too early to say anything. But yeah, the idea is to be able to write about more heroes. The idea is to be able to tell all these stories that have been lying in the back burner, and not finding the right kind of voice. So yeah, I'm open to it. Diksha's also, in fact, open to it. And we have been talking to people, but definitely nothing to say quickly right now. But sure, I think we will be continuing to tell stories of war heroes or heroes from the army as well.
At the moment, very focused on promoting Nimbu Saab, taking it to places wherever we can. I think it's a very important story, and it's a very unique story, coming from the Indian Army, a soldier from Nagaland and his family story. We hope that we're able to tell Nagaland's story through Nimbu's story, in fact, and so we'll keep doing that.
All right, it was great talking to you, Neha, Diksha, and Atule. All the best, and I hope the book does really well.
Thank you. Please read it and give us a review. And
She has read it.
Okay, and give us a review.
We are all looking forward to it, and I'm definitely sure that it will do well because my two sister Jays have written the story very nicely, and we have tried our best to keep it as original as it is. We didn't put all type of masalas and all these things. What is the real story we have written there, and I'm so happy for both of them. And in fact, I'm very fortunate that I met them some uh, 10 years ago in Kargil. and we are able to write this story. I'm very happy for them also. Thank you.
Thank you so much.